It is the end of the Shanae show. Clayton and the girls have packed their bags and headed to Croatia, and Mara is working overtime for that rose. What's up, everybody, and welcome to our Bachelor recap show. As always, I am your host, Zachary Reality, joined by Morgan Wright and Gabby Gonta, and we have a full episode breakdown to get into with lots of predictions, so definitely stick around towards the end of the live. Morgan, Gabby, how are you guys doing? What did you guys think of last night's episode?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Zach. I thought last night's episode was a long time coming. I mean, we were all just waiting for this moment with Shanae. And I feel like, me personally, I was very caught off guard a little bit by the Sarah drama. I mean, we saw,
Mm.
teasers of her crying, but I never knew that this was how it's going to play out. So I'm excited to get into some different drama besides Shanae, apparently involving Mara and Sarah. What did you think, Gabby?
Totally agree. There was a moment there when I thought Shanae was going to stay and Genevieve was going to leave. So that was, terrifying because I couldn't imagine more weeks with Shanae. It's been so long. Quite the long villain arc for her. So, like you were saying, I'm glad to sort of see a new villain emerge and some new drama start up this week.
Yeah, I mean, it's been the Shanae show for the past 6 episodes now. I never want to hear the word shrimp again. Like, it just never stopped. But this two-on-one date was pretty dramatic, so we kind of have to get into it and pick up where we left off with last week. But before we do that, I want to remind everyone, if you're listening, to hit that subscribe bell down below, ring the bell so you never miss out, and give this video a big thumbs up because we are here every week to break down The Bachelor. And we gotta pick up in Niagara Falls the two-on-one date with Shanae and Genevieve. And it seemed like Shanae was really focused on throwing Genevieve under the bus, saying she was an actress, while Genevieve wanted absolutely nothing to do with Shanae. She didn't want to engage in the drama. I was kind of surprised that Shanae actually went home because I felt like Shanae and Clayton at least had a connection and a relationship. We've seen a lot of scenes of them. We've seen them kissing. I've never seen any connection between Clayton and Genevieve, so I'm just kind of confused why he decided to pick her. Gabby, did you see a connection between Genevieve and Clayton? How do you think, they're gonna be able to move forward after all of this?
You're right. I never really saw anything between them, probably because the only thing they've been airing is everything involving Shanae. But yeah, you're right. Since it has been a lot of Shanae, we've seen her and Clayton's relationship kind of develop. So
Mhm.
it is also confusing that he maybe didn't keep her just based on romantic connections. But I don't know. I feel like at this point, the producers kind of realized that Shanae's story was coming to an end and that they should probably send her home right here.
Yeah, and I mean, all the girls were obviously really happy to see her go. But Morgan, we saw Shanae try and, call Genevieve, this actress, and say that Genevieve actually wanted to go home. She didn't want to be here. She was thinking about packing her bags. How much of that do you think was true, and how much of that do you think was Shanae just trying to get ahead?
I mean, I think it was just Shanae being Shanae. Before we even get to that, you see her in her little confessional moments say, I have a plan, and we've seen her be manipulative and kind of pull out all the stops to, as she puts it, take these girls
Hmm.
down one by one. And Genevieve was just her next victim. I thought it was very ironic that Shanae was calling Genevieve the actress when, of course, we've seen Shanae compare herself to Meryl Streep. We've seen her,
Hmm.
boast over the fact that she was
Good
able to
point.
force tears. So it's like if anyone is acting, it's not Genevieve. It's definitely Shanae.
I mean, that's very valid. We all saw it last week when, she did that grand apology and then said it wasn't real. So it kind of seemed like Shanae was just willing to do anything she could do to get the rose. I don't necessarily feel like she had to throw Genevieve under the bus. Like I said, I felt like her connection with Clayton was way stronger than Genevieve's. So maybe if she kind of took a little bit of a chill pill and just went along with the flow, maybe Clayton would have organically gave her a rose. And like you mentioned, Gabby, like this has been a long villain arc for Shanae, and I think if she softened up a little bit and got more vulnerable, maybe she could have made it a few weeks farther together and we could have had this redemption arc for her, because we've seen that with villains in the past where when it gets down to the nitty-gritty, they start to open up more. And it seemed like Shanae was just kind of faking those tears or exaggerating them. She talked about her 5 year, being single, and like, she's just like going through stuff. I mean, Morgan, how authentic do we think Shanae is and her edit on the show overall? Like, do you think she is who we see, or is there more? Because we're going to get to her social media post in just a second.
I mean, it sounds really harsh, but no, I don't think that there's much more to her. And, that social media post where she's going on about how if you only believe this, edited down version that you saw 5 hours of me, it's like, okay, but we only saw you be manipulative and mean and lie and, tear other people down. There was never any glimpse of anything else where it's like, at least with a villain like Corinne, she was funny and she made you laugh and she did
Hmm.
have some friends in the house. Whereas Shanae,
Hmm.
there was just no redemption for her whatsoever.
Yeah, there really wasn't. And Genevieve ended up getting the rose, so Shanae had to kind of sail into the Niagara Falls. It was quite dramatic. Morgan, her Instagram caption says, "For those of you who don't know me, I wanted to share a few things. If you choose to judge me on the 5 hours of footage you watched, I'm sad you didn't get a look into the real me. And if you were so quick to say you would never be mean to someone while simultaneously sending me hateful messages, that doesn't make you better than me. My realness isn't for everyone. Clayton, good luck to you, and I hope you find what your heart is looking for. It was an honor to be a part of your journey." So, I mean, I like that she's wishing Clayton well. The whole 5 hours of footage thing, Morgan, which you were puzzled about, kind of confuses me too. But I understand, where she was coming from, that it is an edited show and that, people are sending her hate, so that doesn't make her better. Gabby, what did you make of her whole Instagram caption and her goodbye exit?
Yeah, I mean, this was really interesting. I think that, like you were saying, Zach, you were kind of saying if she would have just really leaned on the connection that it seemed like they actually had, she probably would have done better. But I just think she was so insecure in that she didn't see that being able to take her far enough, which I understand when you're in a room in a competition, technically full of all of those amazing women, you see him, having great moments with all of them all the time. Like that would make me insecure too. So I think she was too insecure to lean on like maybe their actual connection and then just started kind of playing this game instead because she thought she would have better chances doing that. So it seems like that's kind of the rabbit hole she dove into. Um, of course, we're not going to see everything that aired, and of course, producers probably picked the parts where she was the nastiest because that's good TV. But at the end of the day, like she said all of those things, and maybe she said some nice things that we didn't see, but overall, I don't know, probably not because there are other nice girls on the show, and we've seen those moments.
I mean, I just want to know who was her friend in the house. Like, there's no way that not one person liked her in the
Mm,
house. We saw Susie and a couple of girls try and give her grace and be open to her. And I
mhm.
mean, we didn't get to see all sides of Shanae, so I will give her that. But a lot of fans, gave her backlash because she didn't apologize to Elizabeth in her goodbye caption. She didn't apologize for anything. She's really just saying, "You guys
Mhm.
don't know me. Don't send me mean messages." So, Morgan, what do you think we can expect from Shanae at the Women Tell All?
I mean, I don't think that she's going to be apologizing. And at this point, even if she does, doesn't mean anything, after watching how many apologies that she made on the show. And then 2 seconds later,
Yeah.
she was confessing to everyone that they were fake. And it's like, okay, Shanae, maybe we didn't see every piece of you on this edited down show. But I think all of the women's reaction to her leaving speaks volumes. I mean, has there ever been a moment where I mean, Gabby with the double chug, like there's never been this big of a reaction for one person in particular leaving and like to say that all of these girls don't know the real you, like yeah, they do because they lived in a house with you for however many
Mhm.
weeks with nothing else to do but get to know each other.
So do you think there's going to be angry faces at the Women Tell All, Morgan? Because I heard they're filming it next week.
Yeah, I
Like, is
mean, I think
everyone coming
Shanae
down
will
on her?
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't they? Especially people like Elizabeth, especially people like Genevieve, these women that she has wronged on such a large scale. I mean, I can't imagine being Elizabeth in this situation and actually being sent home because of it. Like Genevieve at least got the benefit of the doubt and where she got to stick around. But Elizabeth didn't have that, given to her. So if I was Elizabeth, I would be pissed and I would let her know on the Women Tell All. I would not hold back.
Especially
I don't
because
think
a
they
lot of
will.
them especially because a lot of them didn't see, some of this other footage until it aired these past few weeks. So they're probably even more heated because they're seeing all the other things that she said and did that they didn't even know about. So it's gonna be wild.
Yeah, it's going to be wild. I'm sure that they'll put her backstage and then like bring her out really dramatically. Maybe she'll cry, maybe she'll own up to things. I mean, this Instagram caption, it doesn't seem like she's too apologetic, and that she's kind of still being Shanae. So the Women Tell All will be interesting, and I'm sure we'll hear about that and get some tea on it, in the next week or so, since it's being filmed next week. But we'll have to kind of get back to that. And I mean, before the Clayton and the girls left for Croatia, there was a rose ceremony where two of the women were sent home, Marlena and Hunter. Now, Marlena was the Olympian who got herself into some trouble last week on social media, where she continued her roast from the group date to TikTok, and it did not sit well with Bachelor and some of the girls on the show, especially Sarah. And Hunter, who kind of was faded in the background with the other blondes, but Hunter did seem super sweet. Morgan, what do you know about Marlena? Are you going to miss her on the show, or are you going to miss Hunter?
Well, I mean, they didn't get a lot of airtime, either one of them. I think there's a very strong core group of women that Clayton likes, and everybody else kind of just gets leftover scraps here and there, which I wish we would have been able to. I don't know one thing about Hunter. I wish we would have been able to
Hmm.
see a little bit
Yeah.
more about her. I thought Marlena was funny at the roast, but then I don't think she needed to post the video on
Hmm.
TikTok. It's like maybe producers were trying to help her out in that a little bit and not post the things that some people took like offensively. So, I mean, let's just say I'm not surprised that the both of them went home this rose ceremony.
Yeah, I mean, and I still think there's a couple girls left on the show who need to go home as well, who just aren't getting airtime or just kind of behind. So I wasn't surprised to see them go. Gabby, were you kind of surprised? What are your thoughts on the whole Marlena roast thing and Hunter and everyone?
Yeah, I mean, I think they were definitely at the bottom in terms of just the relationships with Clayton, and since it's moving so fast. So I think it sort of made sense for them to go since we didn't see a lot of them, like you were saying, Morgan. And now that we have kind of these top girls who are left, I think even going forward, it's going to be interesting to see who he sends home because everyone's kind of a top girl now.
Yeah, I mean, we have like 10 girls left on the show, so it's really going to get down to the nitty gritty. And we're going to have to go to Croatia and start talking about these dates. So I do want to remind everyone we're going to do a live Q&A at the end of today's live. So if you guys have any questions, opinions, comments, leave them in the live chat right now, and we'll get over to those later in the live. But Clayton and the girls continued their journey and are going to Croatia, which is so beautiful. I've always wanted to go there. Teddy was given the first one-on-one date of the week, and they spent the day exploring the city. And I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I think Teddy is too cool for Clayton. I mean, there was like this one moment where Clayton like pointed something out, and she was just like, cute. Like, she's just so nonchalant and she's so calm, cool, and collected. I mean, Morgan, do you like Teddy? Like, do you like her for Clayton? What do you think about their connection?
I do like Teddy a lot. Especially on the first episode after she got the first impression rose, I was like, she is
Hmm.
going to be the star of the show. So I was disappointed that she kind of tapered off the past couple episodes, and I'm glad that she is getting a one-on-one date now. But I don't see her with Clayton at all. I don't see any chemistry between the two of them. I don't see a connection between the two of them. I'm hoping she's going to be on our beaches this summer in paradise because
Hmm.
I feel like a lot of guys would like to get not to get with to be with Teddy is what I meant to say.
Anyone in mind? Because I've been shipping Teddy and Brandon since night one.
Oh Yeah, that would be cute. If people aren't mad at Ivan anymore, I think Teddy and Ivan would be a very
Ooh.
attractive couple, at least.
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, we'll have to kind of see. I'm sure she'll be on the beach unless she can do something and get a bachelorette role, but she's definitely going to make it a little bit farther. Like I said, there's 10 girls left, so I'm going to put my money that she's going to make it till top 6 at least. I'm not sure about top 4 yet. But on the night portion of the date, Teddy finally opened up to Clayton about being a virgin. She says that she is a very sexual person, but wants to wait until she is in a relationship and is in love before taking that next step in the bedroom. She's not necessarily waiting for marriage, but just waiting for the right person. Gabby, you're on TikTok. I'm on TikTok. We all saw the viral TikToks of Clayton and his Mizzou days. It's safe to say that Clayton is probably the opposite of a virgin. Do you think that Teddy and Clayton could make things work? They seem like they're coming from different backgrounds.
You're right. They really are coming from different backgrounds. And it seemed like he was almost awkward having this conversation. I mean, I know it's kind of awkward anyways, all the time, talking about sex or whatever. But I don't
Yeah.
know. He just he was supportive and kind, of course. But I don't know. I feel like he just hadn't had that conversation like ever before, like you were saying. Probably because he was a football college party guy. But of course, don't want to judge him either. I think he was very like making
Hmm.
her feel comfortable and all of that. And I think he does like her. So, as we move on to the next few weeks, I think the only thing that might be holding Teddy and Clayton back is just if those other relationships with the other women really progress and he sees some like a better future with them. Otherwise, I think they would be cute and would probably work well together.
So yeah, I mean, and honestly, like props to Teddy for, being open and vulnerable. I mean, I think we all respect her being a virgin and we all, respect Clayton having his past as well. It really is to each their own. We're no ones to judge. So, I mean, I like that Teddy can kind of be a voice. We've obviously seen many virgin stories on The Bachelor before over the years, most notably Ashley I. She kind of set the tone. So good for Teddy for sharing that and opening up to Clayton about that. Morgan, what are your kind of final thoughts on Teddy and the date, and how far do you think she's gonna go? Because
Yeah,
she
I
got the
mean,
rose.
like I said before, I really do like her a lot. I think that she's very mature. I think that she's here for the right reasons. I agree with you, probably top 6, maybe even a top 5. But I feel like we all know a pretty solid top 4, and I don't think Teddy is in it.
Well, who's in that, Morgan? Share what you think.
Serene, Gabby, Pilot Rachel, and Susie.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are on the same page with that. I think Sarah could sneak into that, and maybe Teddy could as well, but I think we're all kind of on the same page with that as the top 6. And moving on to the group date, which consisted of Mara, Susie, Gabby, Serene, Rachel, Eliza, and Genevieve. They went to Croatia to do Croatian fighting with some knights. They were asked to eat fish eyeballs, pig brains, and other gross animals. And this triggered a huge reaction from Mara because Mara was really upset that she was on this group date and that Sarah was getting another one-on-one date before Mara even got her first. Mara got a lot of airtime this episode, Gabby. What were your kind of thoughts on Mara and her, should we say jealousy or insecurity towards Sarah, or what do you think it was?
Yeah, well, first of all, I absolutely hated this date. Like, I
Yeah.
would be so upset if I was on this. Like, we're in this beautiful country. Like, Croatia is along the water. Like, there's so many things you could do for a group date, and then they chose this. I would have been very upset. So I feel bad for them. But like, you're not gonna find love wearing these outfits and doing these things. Anyways, Mara, yeah. So I mean, we just really start to see her struggle, and um it definitely stems from being insecure, especially thinking, she is the most mature, just being the oldest one there, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're the best fit for the Bachelor or even that you are the most mature because she was kind of bringing girls down, especially Sarah. So I understand
Mhm.
her struggle, but I think she's kind of falling into the same trap of Shanae, where she's like attacking people just because she doesn't, you know, have a strong connection with him.
Yeah, and like maybe she is the oldest and maybe she is one of the most mature and maybe she is the most ready for marriage, but that doesn't really matter. What matters is if you have the strongest connection with Clayton, the Bachelor. So maybe her and Clayton are not the right fit. I actually think she should send herself home because clearly she's not happy being there and it's showing. And I mean, Mara, I think she should go home. I just don't think she needs to be there. And she kept repeating herself to Clayton and to everyone in the house that the younger girls, shouldn't be here and that they're not ready for marriage. And she even brought it up to Clayton and basically alluded to the fact that Sarah is not ready for marriage because she's 23. And when Mara was 23, she wasn't ready. So Sarah can't be ready. Morgan, are you team
Mhm.
Sarah? Are you team Mara? Do you have any defense for Mara? Because me and Gabby clearly are not having it for her.
Okay, I will play devil's advocate just for fun. I feel like if you
Okay.
put yourself in Mara's position, I too would start to really struggle with my self confidence and feeling insecure. If you continuously are getting looked over, if you've never had any one on one time, if somebody else gets a second one on one date and I haven't even gotten one, at that point, I'm like, just put me out of my misery and send me home if you don't like me. Like, please don't just keep me around because you have to fill a number set by producers. And I
Hmm.
too thought that maybe she would end up sending herself home because she saw that Clayton clearly was not interested in her. Now, on the other side of things, I feel like it is unfair for her to go after Sarah when really the person that she should be going after is Clayton. I don't understand why the girls always go after each other when it's Clayton who is making the decision. If Clayton wants to date the youngest one there, if Clayton wants to date someone who might show signs of emotional immaturity, not saying that Sarah has, but if she does, that's his decision. Sarah can't change the fact that she's 23. And that's pretty much that all that Mara knows about her. So if I'm Mara and I'm continuously getting looked over by Clayton, not getting any one-on-one time, and he's choosing somebody that I just don't see is ready, I'm sending myself home because he's clearly not my
Hmm.
person. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
A hundred
Yeah.
percent. Either that or just like calm down and enjoy your trip to Croatia because I don't know
Yeah.
when the next time you're gonna fly back to
Calm
Croatia,
down.
Mara, is because like I mean at this point, like honestly, like we obviously don't know what it's like to be on the show, but it's just like if you're not gonna be with the lead and you already can tell he has a stronger connection, like just enjoy your free vacation and have fun with it and get a couple extra episodes, get a few more thousand followers and stop complaining. Like she's really focusing so much on Sarah and it's just making her look bad and Sarah is just like not doing anything. Like she's just being young,
Mhm.
cute, and fun and dating Clayton. And I actually think Clayton and Sarah are really vibing. So, I mean, that's what I have to say about that. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in just a second because Sarah did get the one on one date. But ultimately, Rachel ended up getting the group date Rose, who is Morgan's winner pick, a lot of our winners pick. And it seems like she really is starting to fall for Clayton. And even though we know Rachel's a key frontrunner, Susie is also very much in the mix. She was able to write a little date card for Clayton and got to see him later in the night after the group date and score some special time. Gabby, should Susie or Rachel, do we think those are the top two? Like, why do we think Susie was able to get that extra time?
Yeah, that's a good question. I did not think girls could write date cards. If so, they should have been doing it
Right?
all along.
Yeah.
But she
Since
clearly
the
had
beginning.
some producer hookup and made this happen, which I think is cute. It was kind of different and fun. And obviously Clayton was like very excited, and Susie, told him that she's falling for him. So that was a really fun moment. So
Hmm.
yeah, I think these two are progressing a lot. I definitely think Rachel is up there, like one of his faves. So I think Susie's like, trying to get in there and sneak up too. So I could definitely see them as the final two. Or at least, for sure in fantasy suites. So maybe the girls that he's
Hmm.
talking to about the fact that he's slept with both of them.
Yeah. I mean, I'm putting my money on Susie and Rachel, but then every time I look at the trailer, I keep on seeing that brunette in that scene, and I'm like, oh, it's got to be Gabby. So then I'm kind of thinking Gabby's gonna make
Mhm.
it. But Rachel keeps getting these group dates. Like, Morgan, do you think the other girls in the house know that it's probably going to be Rachel at the end of this? Like, how many of them really think they have a fighting chance? Because Genevieve, Eliza, Mara, like, you got to know by now that you're falling behind.
Yeah, I think those women probably know that it's not going to be them, but I do feel like there's that handful that still have a fighting chance. Obviously, Susie, she knew probably that she had to do something to kind of put herself back out there after not getting the group date rose. And I think that was a good thing for her to do. I was just so happy it wasn't Shanae. I thought for sure Shanae was going to be at the clock tower and we were all just going to be like, no. But I have a conspiracy theory that Clayton actually in that scene is talking to three women and not just the brunette and the blonde that
Oh.
we see, because the shot is off center. So I feel like there's one more person on the other side of them, and I think that that is the top three: Gabby, Susie, and Rachel, and then I think the top two: Susie, Rachel.
Ooh, and I mean, they can also edit out a whole human being from a scene. So,
Yeah.
like, if we see that in the trailer, like you said, Morgan, like, there is editing tools. I know people from the show who have told me that, like, there has been scenes filmed with, like, and it seems like there's a couch full of people, and then there actually only was two people on the couch. So, like, the Bachelor editors know exactly what they're doing. And I hope that they really throw us for a loop because it seems like we can predict everything. And I hope that it's just, like, not what we expected it to be. So, I can't wait to see what happens towards the end of the season. We're already like on episode 6. There's less than 10 girls left. I mean, next week we'll probably lose a couple. So we have some exciting moments to come this season. And let's get to this one-on-one date with Sarah because the bomb was dropped by Mara and Clayton had to talk to Sarah about it on their one-on-one date. And he really questioned her if she was ready for marriage, if she was here for the right reasons, if she was old enough for this. He made her cry and then he walked away and said he needed a minute. And it was just like, it felt like gaslighting. Like, it just felt like, why are you questioning her so hard? Like, just because Mara said something who you barely even talked to? Like, it just, I don't
Mhm.
understand what Clayton's point was with all of that. He came at her too hard. Gabby, what was your kind of reaction to the one on one date and Sarah's meltdown?
Yeah, I agree that it was kind of a lot. I feel like Clayton doesn't have any sort of like, I don't know.
Self
Um
awareness?
yeah, like self-awareness,
Kahunas?
like ability to like determine I don't know, what's like true or not for
Determine
himself.
his
He
own
just kind of like
opinion.
yeah, he can't have his own opinion. He just like is a little messenger that takes like all the like things that other people say like to them and then like walks away after that.
No,
So
but
I feel like he
seriously,
should
it
just
feels
like
like every time.
yeah, he should just like kind of like internally take a moment and be like, okay, who do I like think I trust in this situation? And then like kind of go with that because although Sarah really did like defend herself super well, I mean, she was clearly like emotional and telling her whole truth. And since they actually have a connection, like it makes sense that he kind of like leaned on believing her. She was maybe like a little bit dramatic, but I get, I understand if you're just like a naturally emotional person and you feel like, especially after seeing all the girls through the house who have just been like target on their back, Genevieve, Elizabeth, like one after one after one, and then you realize like it's you because now you're being accused of something. I can see why that would be like, oh my god moment. But I'm glad that she stayed because it seemed like that was right in that situation.
Yeah, I mean, I understand why Sarah was crying, considering he just like questioned her a million times and then left the situation. But I also feel like she could have kept her cool. I mean, like if someone's saying something about you and it's not true, like it's not worth getting upset over because you're your own person. You have your own voice. You speak for your truth, and no one else defines you. You define yourself. So I feel like Sarah was definitely being very dramatic in the waterworks. But I also could see the producers whispering to Clayton, go make Sarah cry. Because he is just a producer puppet. He keeps leaving every conversation. Whenever there's a moment, he's like, I gotta go. Yeah, you gotta go talk to the producers so they can tell you what your next move is. Morgan, have we ever had a bachelor who has no balls like Clayton? I mean, I swear to God, he does not know how to stand up for himself. He doesn't think for himself. I really think that he's the worst bachelor of all time. Like, worse than everyone. He doesn't speak up for himself. He doesn't make his own decisions. That's how I feel.
Clayton loves a good walk away moment. I mean, we had what, like
Loves it.
3 or 4 in this episode? I was like, just cool it. And one time he literally only walked like 3 feet away. I was like, what is the difference in you standing 3 feet away than sitting here and like addressing what's going on? No, I think that's why they picked him to begin with, is because they knew that he would kind of do what they wanted. He would help build storylines here, help, villain arcs here. And I honestly think maybe that's why he has the promo video or the picture with the puppies, because Clayton is the producer's little puppy dog and he does whatever they
Exactly.
tell him to. I got to tell you guys though about Sarah. I did have a swing of reactions, I guess, to this scene, because when she was, you guys, lip quivering crying. And I was like, is it really that, like, is it that big of a deal? And I had to tell myself, like, Morgan, stop being a hater. Like, she probably is embarrassed. She probably feels all this pressure. But honestly, and this is just me being very honest, seeing her reaction makes me think, well, maybe Mara was right, and that she is a little young and
Oh.
overly sensitive and
Oh.
maybe a little bit on the immature side. I mean, I slapped myself out of that real quickly because I know that's very insensitive of me to think that way. And I was like, no, like I said, she's probably embarrassed. She's probably very upset. I'm not going to judge her for it until we got the trailer for next week, which makes me think something else is going to happen with Sarah and she's going to become the new villain. So I
Mhm.
cannot make an opinion on Sarah after this episode because I'm being pulled in a lot of different directions.
Okay.
True.
I mean, I'm team Sarah. I really like Sarah, and I just feel like the producers were saying things to her to gaslight her behind the scenes. We saw her go off into the corner and start crying to a producer, and they were like refusing to tell her who was the one that talked about her behind her back. So, I think it's the producers and the show environment that's making Sarah crazy, and I think that they picked her because she is probably more naive and weak and more of a puppy dog to them. So I think the producers are manipulating Sarah and they're using Clayton to help manipulate her. So I am team Sarah. I don't believe the show anymore. Honestly, guys, this show, this season, it's really losing its authenticity. And I know we're here to recap it every week, but I really do feel like this might be the worst season we've had in years and that there's just no more authenticity. It's editing, it's producers, it's so much manipulation. Maybe I just know too much now because I've met so many people, but I'm having a difficult time looking at it the same way. What are your thoughts about that? Do you guys agree? What do you think? Morgan, you go first.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've been going downhill for quite some time. I feel like as fans, we kind of want what we can't have. Like I remember being upset during Matt James season because I was like, it's all drama, and we got to the final 3 and I have no idea who these girls are. I have no idea who Matt James is, and I'm like, okay, I don't want any drama. And then we get to Michelle's season and it's like every little blip of drama, she's like out of here, and we really saw genuine love
Uh-huh.
stories, and I was like, oh, I miss the drama, you know what I mean? So it's like we always want what we can't have. But I agree. I mean, since the come up of social media and the influencer life, I feel like the show in general has just changed, and they're trying to make it work, but it just does feel a little bit less authentic these days because there are a lot more ulterior motives than just getting your 15 minutes
Mhm.
of fame like it used to be.
Yeah, or they're just so worried about, offending people and the edit and like just the way things come across. It's so manufactured. I've been watching this show for 15 years and I've never seen a season more manufactured than this season in my entire life. Gabby, what are your thoughts on the season overall? Clayton, the producers, how do you think it's going?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've been feeling that way, but I guess I kind of didn't even realize it till you just said that right now when we were talking about Clayton and how he can't make his own decisions and how everyone's being manipulated for each other to make the storyline go. And then it just really all connects in that fact that you were just saying, where it seems just overly produced, like we're not getting genuine people anymore. I think Gabby's probably the most genuine like person on the show, where we see like real funny, like random moments and like get
Agreed,
to
yeah.
know these people, because like yeah, Matt James season we really didn't get to know anybody, and it was just like it's just been kind of all over the place like in the last few seasons, which yeah is disappointing. I mean, I of course they are like trying to balance everything, kind of especially after the controversies last year. So I can tell they're trying, but I just hope that the franchise as a whole like gains some more footing and kind of gets back to the
Yeah.
roots.
I mean, the way to do that is to take a break. They need like no Bachelorette next season. Give us a couple months to recuperate and miss the show, and then give us a
Mhm.
really good season of Paradise with less editing and more authentic conversations. It just drives me crazy when it's just like Sarah or anyone just pours their heart out, and then Clayton like leaves the room and like, what did he say? Did he actually just leave the room? Like, and go to confessional. It's like, can you show a conversation for more than 40 seconds? Like, please. I don't
Mhm.
know. So Sarah
Mhm.
ultimately ends up getting the rose. Clayton offers her a chance to stay, but it's safe to say that Sarah is pissed off. And the last scene of the show, Sarah was walking back with her rose, ready to confront the other ladies, and she was not happy. Morgan, take me through this. What do you think is going to happen when she walks in this room? Is she going right to Mara? Is she going to have an open conversation? How mad do we think Sarah really is?
Well, I believe at this point she doesn't know specifically that it is Mara. So I feel like she probably will
True.
address everyone as a whole, like guns blazing, to figure out who it is. I don't think it will take her very long to figure out that it was Mara. I feel like Mara might even own up to it. But then we
Mm-hmm.
see a lot of, downfall for Sarah. There's girls talking, or at least that's what it makes it seem like. There's girls talking about, oh, she's caught in this lie and she's just digging herself deeper. So I'm just really interested to see what's going to go down next week.
Oh yeah, I mean we're going to get more drama and I like that we're going to see more of the girls interact cuz like we said it was the Shanae show for so long. Gabby, what are your predictions for next week?
Well, I actually think that Sarah does know that it's Mara because I think in a part of the conversation with Clayton, they were talking about how, or she was saying, "Oh, now that I have a second one-on-one, like there's a target on my back for the girls who haven't got it yet." And then when she was getting the date card like read to her, she was like visibly awkward, and then Mara kind of like confronted her and started crying. So I think it kind of like clicked in that moment that it was Mara. So I think she is going to definitely confront her. Um, and yeah, I mean that whole like sequence of Sarah after the date with the rose, she got like, she snapped out of it. She got really sassy. So I feel like she like really turned on that sassy, confident mode and it's gonna take it to the extreme. And that's why she's kind of like the villain next.
I mean, yeah, I mean you to be a villain, you got to have the music. They put that music over her. She's walking in heels. She's
Mhm.
a force. I'm rooting for Sarah. I like her and I can't wait to see what happens next week. I think Mara is probably going to end up going home. Maybe she'll send herself home. Maybe she'll go to Clayton's hotel room and something will happen. But Sarah is definitely in for it because, like you guys mentioned, a few of the girls are starting to pick things up on what's going on. And we want to hear from you guys. So, you guys listening, you guys watching the episodes, let us know what you think. We're going to open it up to our live Q&A so you guys can head to the live chat right now. Leave your questions, your comments, predictions that you want us to read out loud, and we will go through them and check them out and see what you guys are thinking about the show. Anything in Bachelor Nation, feel free to ask or say. It doesn't necessarily have to be Clayton's season. And if you guys have not checked us out on Twitter yet, be sure to do that at Shared News. We are on Twitter. We live tweet during the episodes. And we're also on TikTok at Shared News 4. So be sure to check us out on there. Let's get right into these questions. Morgan, why don't you kick us off with Kimberly?
Kimberly says Clayton is being too nice and getting taken advantage of by these women. Kimberly, you should have added and producers because it definitely is a mix of both of those things happening at the same time.
100%. He's too nice. I want to see him like stand his ground more. That's what I'm saying. He's
Mhm.
just not authentic. King is back says Clayton is a puppet. He is getting manipulated by the producers. I'm glad we're all on the same page here. Like it really is Clayton. He's just not standing up for himself, and that's why the producers are probably taking advantage of him because he doesn't have his own voice. I mean, he's gonna end up getting engaged to someone. Like Matt James could not be manipulated. He was like, "I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that." Colton jumped a fence. Even Pilot Pete, like at least stood up for himself at times. It's just Clayton is just he's not doing it. Why do we even think they made him the Bachelor, Gabby? Isn't this all making sense now from his edit on Michelle's season?
Yeah, it really is. I mean, they really just wanted someone who would probably be down for whatever because they probably realized they needed to highly produce the show to like give the fans something that we wanted, even though that's not what we want.
Yeah. I mean, he is good on
Chris,
Twitter. I will give Clayton that. He's had a few funny jokes and funny lines. I'm appreciating him. Morgan, what does
mhm.
Crystal say? We got a little bit of a long one.
She says, I didn't like how Sarah called her a cougar a couple weeks ago. Very true. But Mara is really showing her insecurities. Like she said, Sarah got real emotional when her integrity was called into question. Yeah, I mean, we forget that these two really have been going at each other, not just now, but for a couple of weeks behind the scenes. And we saw a glimpse
Mhm.
of it in the roast, but like we have been saying this whole live, it's been the Shanae show. So I feel like maybe we missed a little bit of this drama, but now it's starting to bubble up and rise to the top.
Yeah. And they've definitely been feuding since the roast. I mean, the roast just brings out everything. Like you don't have these jokes just like, you've been sitting on this for a while. And Kimberly says Mara, as much as I like her, they didn't hit it off. So get over yourself. Yeah, I mean, I think Mara's just grasping for straws. She knows her time is up. She really wanted to find love. There's no denying that Mara wants to be in love and she's here for the right reasons and that she's looking for someone. Gabby, I'll give you a second to think, but who are we shipping Mara with in Bachelor in Paradise? Because I think she'll be
Ooh.
there. She wants to fall in love. She's gonna want someone older. Remember, she's 31, so we need to think. I mean,
Mhm.
Bennett could be an option, but I think he has a girlfriend. Um, who
Ooh.
are we thinking that we can set her up with?
I don't know if
Um,
Anna Redmond is dating Chris Bukowski, but I feel like I could see them together, Mara and Chris.
Ooh, I mean, Chris should just not go back to Bachelor. He's been on the show
Yeah.
6 times, maybe seven. But I like what you're
Yeah.
thinking. We need someone a little bit older for Mara. Also, what about Ed? Ed could go back.
Hmm,
That could be cute.
yeah, he was
maybe.
barely on Paradise. It was like the last episode, so I would say that one's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, or maybe even Jesse Palmer, except we all know he's married. Terrence says, if I were the women, I would focus on the mocking of the ADHD and have a full conversation about ADHD. 100% this has to happen at the Women Tell All because this is something that Shanae has not addressed on social media and she's
Mhm.
never apologized to Elizabeth. Maybe she's not allowed to. Like maybe the show is like forcing Shanae to not apologize so that they could have it all on the Women Tell All to get those ratings and to get that be there for the first time. But Morgan, have you seen Elizabeth's Instagram? Like she posted a photo shoot with shrimp. She had her whole bachelorette photo shoot. Like she is coming for war and blood at this tell all.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like she's probably upset that she didn't last as long as she thought that she would because she kind of got her knees, chopped off by Shanae. And
Uh-huh.
she's like, you know what? If I'm not going to be around as long as I thought I would, I'm making my own bachelorette promo shoot. I'm
Mhm.
making videos about shrimp. Like, you got to milk it any way that you can. So, honestly, props to Elizabeth.
And
Mhm.
yeah, honestly, it's working for her. A lot of people thought it's being a little too thirsty, but I mean, Elizabeth has like gotten so many more followers than half the women on the show who are front runners that are still like under
Yeah.
10K. Elizabeth is at like 50K. So she knows what she's doing in social media. So props to her, but she's going to let Shanae have it at the Women Tell All. I think that there's going to be a full conversation and Elizabeth will not swing back. Gabby, what is sweet and spicy Eddie saying?
Eddie said, I completely don't understand how Clayton came up with sending her home. He just walks off and then came back. Exactly. This was weird. I think, Zach, you were mentioning it's like a very weird edit. Genevieve barely defended herself. I mean, she seemed very shocked, which was like a good reaction,
Mhm.
but she should have been more like, what? Like, what do you mean? And then just like have them all have like an open conversation. He just kind of like left, and then that's what I thought he was actually gonna give it to Shanae because, like, I don't know, Genevieve didn't explain herself. Clayton didn't talk to her
Yeah.
anymore, and like it just went really weird. And then he's like, "Oh, someone who helped me see the truth," and then it's like, "Oh, that was Genevieve." Like, what? I don't know. Very weird editing, but
I
at
w-
least Shanae's gone,
I
I guess.
wish he gave it to Shanae. I'm sorry. I really wish that Shanae was still there. Like I wish he gave it to her because she really is bringing in the viewers and she's pissing people off every week. But it's like Genevieve didn't defend herself. She put on Instagram, I checked her page this morning, that she was very shocked by the accusations and that she was just in disbelief, so that's why she wasn't able to defend herself. But I think that she kind of will at the Women Tell All as well. Do you think Genevieve will ever get a one-on-one, Morgan? Do you think she's gonna make it farther, or is she gone at the next rose ceremony?
To be completely honest, I thought Clayton was gonna send both of them home at the same time, and I was
True.
surprised that he kept Genevieve because I still don't see a connection with the two of them. So I thought that's a perfect opportunity to do a little plot twist, and yes, send home Shanae, but then send home Genevieve at the same time. I really thought he would.
Yeah, it has happened before on other two-on-one dates over the years where they just send both of them home. We love an epic two-on-one date. I always remember Ashley I and Kelsey on Chris Hole's season. They were in the Badlands. They both got left in the desert. And then Shanae, I guess, got left in the falls, in the sea. I wonder how long she was on that boat for before they helped her. What if they kept her there for like 4 hours and just let her go crazy? That would have been so funny. Shared news, we say who is going home next week. So let's give our predictions. Gabby, why don't you go first? We don't know how many girls will go, but we can assume it will probably be maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah. I definitely think Mara is gonna go home either by Clayton sending her home because, he's just not feeling it, or her just sending herself home because of how frustrated she is. Genevieve, probably another one because that connection really isn't there. And then I would say Eliza, just because we haven't seen very much of her. I think they would be like a cute couple. I just don't think they're that progressed as much as the other women.
Yeah. I mean, I think we saw Eliza on a one-on-one date in the trailer. So she
Oh.
could be sneaking up her way for next
Mhm.
week's teaser. Morgan, what are your final predictions?
I actually think that Eliza will probably go home on that one-on-one date. Although they were kissing
Mm,
in the promo, weren't they? But I feel like we haven't
yeah.
had a one-on-one date where, he has sent anybody home yet. And I feel like you at least have to
Mhm.
have one-on-one date where the woman doesn't end up getting the rose. But Clayton does love to make out, and he did the same thing with Shanae. So maybe Eliza will go home after their one-on-one date.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, there's got to be like 2 episodes left before hometown. So there's probably going to be 3 girls going home next week and then 2 the week after. Where I think we're literally down to 9 or 10 girls. So it's gonna get down to the nitty gritty, and the end of the season is always when it's the most dramatic. So we definitely have exciting weeks to come, and we'll be talking about The Bachelor every week here on Shared News throughout the rest of
Hey,
the
let's
season.
go.
So be sure to subscribe to our channel, ring the bell, give the video a thumbs up, and even if you missed the live, feel free to let us know your thoughts in the comment sections down below. That's everything we have to share with you guys. So as always, I'm your host, Zachary Reality, joined by Morgan Wright and Gabby Gonta. We all post Bachelor content and other pop culture news on our pages, so be sure to give us follows. Our social media handles are on the screen right now, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. So thank you so much for watching. See you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.